let's talk about the cross. Why are Christians leading people to the cross and then leaving them there? Why are they themselves just sitting at the foot of the cross going nowhere else? They got saved at 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, but they're still sitting at the cross. Why are we doing that? Has anyone ever thought about that? Why are we doing that? And it's the thought of, well, are we sitting at the cross? Yes. Yes, you are. Because you're not accessing kingdom. You're not learning kingdom. You're just saying, I got saved. So the gateway, the doorway, the process, the means by which to get into salvation and have eternal life in heaven was at this cross. So I'm going to stay right here and just sit and stare and worship at it. Cool. But see, he didn't just die for a key, one key to overcome death, hell, and the grave, right? That's 3 things. So he didn't die on the cross solely for you to go to heaven and die, because then that would mean Jesus came back to earth, lived his life, did all these miracles just so that you could, when you died, go to heaven. That does not make sense. Why would God send you here in the first place if he was just hoping that when you died, you would choose salvation and go to heaven? He could just not send you. Right? Like, have people thought about that? Like, have you thought about that? The cross is a doorway, okay? It's a door. Think about this incredible house that is custom built for you. The door is beautiful. It's carved. It's lovely. And you've been given a key to that house. And the front door is what you have to walk through. But you decide to take that key and stare at the front door and sit. How silly do you look? I'm just going to sit at this front door with this key in my hand and just sit and admire how nice this door is, how pretty this door is. Look how pretty this house is on the outside. It's just lovely. That doesn't make sense. But that's what we do, because Jesus dying on the cross was the gateway. That was the door, the entrance to get access to the kingdom. More than just, I have one key. It was 3 keys: hell, death, and the grave. So all power and authority that Adam gave over back in Eden, way back when in Eden, when Adam gave that key over to the devil, Jesus went and got that key back. When he died and went to hell, he was like, thank you. Yoink. Take that back. Thank you. And he brought it back to us on earth, to keep and have on earth, not when we get to heaven. We will not have that in heaven. That's a different kingdom. That's God's kingdom. We're trying to access and do and have his kingdom on earth for us, which he sent us here for. He had no reason to send us if he just wanted us to be in heaven with him. Then why even create us? Why even send us to heaven or send us to earth? Oh, you know what I mean. Why send us to earth? There was a reason. There's a purpose. So if you want to sit at that doorway of that beautiful house and stare at it and say, I got a key to this beautiful house. It's custom built. Everything's amazing inside for me. I've heard about it. I don't actually know for myself because I haven't walked in it, but I've heard amazing things about it. That does not make sense. That doesn't make sense. And then you want to live your whole life sitting at that door, getting older. You're raising your family, y'all just all outside looking at how beautiful the door in the house is. Why wouldn't you go in? You've got the key. Just walk in. See what's in there. If it's custom built for you, why are you going to let it rot? That doesn't make sense. That's what we're doing. Christians are simply leading people to the cross and leaving them there. Here, you got saved. I did my job. Now your salvation, great spot, is secured in heaven. Wonderful for you. They also don't know kingdom though. So maybe they should know that. But if you only know the cross, maybe that's why you're constantly having it put up everywhere and worshiping it. And side note, the cross everywhere is symbolizing that his death. We are grateful for his death. But why are we worshiping death? Why are we worshiping the death of it? When Jesus died on the cross and he was placed in the tomb, his disciples and people, they were looking at the tomb, where's his body? Because his body was gone. They did not go sit back at the cross and just be like, well, let's just stay here and hang out. They went preaching and teaching about his word, about his life, about the parables. They were reteaching them. They were not carrying a cross with them and being like, okay, and then sticking it up every time they taught and said, okay, everyone stare at the cross. stare at the cross. It was a means to an end. It was not the end all be all. That's the confusion that seems to be setting in all over. So let's just squash that. The cross is a door. The house is built for you. Take that key, walk through the door, which was the death, the salvation that he gave us. Walk through that door and access the other keys. Access the kingdom that's on the other side of that. That's how you live an amazing life. That's how you do what God sent you to do, but also it pairs with an amazing life. It's not that it's just really horrible and just sit outside. Because honestly, if you're preaching a message and you're a Christian and you're teaching people about salvation, and then what? Now I got saved, then what? Well, when you die, you go to heaven. Yes, but I'm 15. Now what? I'm not planning on dying anytime soon. I might not. But I could live another 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Then what? What do I do now? Well, it's like, okay, well, you do the things. So you follow the rules. You go to church. You join the groups. You follow other rules. That's what you do until you die. No. You access kingdom. You start to learn that you have gifts and abilities and powers. Actual real powers. That's what you start learning. That's what you start figuring out. What is your power? Learn that. What gift did he give you that no one else has? How can you do you and do it better than anybody else because God gifted it to you? Learn that, right? That is what makes an amazing life while we're here on earth. He wants us to have that on earth, not when we die. That's great up there when we die. But here, I want good. I want amazing. I want wonderful. I want all the things in that custom built house. How do I find it? That's where this is birthed out of, because I get frustrated of people just constantly leaving other people at the cross and saying, here you go. Here you go. It's great for you. Cross is it. That's it. Now we just sit back and just wait for death. Yay for us. What? No. Jesus died and came back and he was like, all right, now I got something for you. You got an instruction manual, you got keys, you got all power and authority, and now you do all the things that you can do and you don't need me, right? You don't need me to do it. You can now do it. So you go do greater works than me. You have the power to heal, and you have the power to cast out demons. You have the power and authority. And no, it doesn't take 100,000 prayers at 1.0 hours and blah, blah, blah. It don't take all that. It takes you. Okay, and I've made another one already. It don't even take 1,000 prayers and all that, right? Jesus wasn't praying for people when he was healing them. He just was like, and we're done. And you, go, bye, demons, out. I ain't got time for this, right? That was power and authority that he accessed because he was in the kingdom, a part of the kingdom. And then he was like, now y'all can do this. By accessing the key and walking through the door, which means that every one of us has the ability to heal someone. Not just someone, people. That's what we need to be learning. That's what we need to be taught. Not just Christians who want to leave you at the cross and say, stay here. Nah, I'm good. I don't want to just stay here. This isn't it. This isn't where he stopped. Why am I stopping here? He doesn't worship the cross. Why am I sitting here worshiping at the cross? Jesus isn't like got a cross stamped on him and like, all right, it's all about the cross and death. No, and technically, if you want to think about it in a different way, you might think it would be about the tomb because he was raised from the tomb. The cross is way back here, right? Like, it doesn't even make sense to me. And I know that I am ranting, going on and on about this, but because it frustrates me when I just see people just left who are like, yeah, I love God and I got saved, but now what? And they go to church and they still struggle with now what? I'm like, honey, come here. We come here. Like, just let's read some things in Matthew, okay? Let's read some things in Mark. Let's read some things. And it's not because it's like, oh, let me tell you, let me get you to, no. I'm just going to show you what Jesus did. And in my life, if Jesus did it, I don't understand why I'm not doing it. Point blank. Jesus did this. So then my question is, hey God, how come I can't do this? And he's like, oh, you can. I'm like, what? Word? I can do that? He's like, yeah, it's called kingdom. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should learn that. Yeah, maybe. But I want to help other people just snap out of this fake facade of let's sit at the cross. No. There's so much more to life than sitting where he died, sitting at the door, sitting at that custom built house. Because you and I know good and well, if someone gave you keys to a brand new house that was custom built, you're not going to be sitting at the door holding the key. No, you're not. You're going to be walking in that side. I mean, like, yes, the door is great because the door is how I got in, but the door is not the end all be all. This inside, each room has something different for me, for my family, for my lineage. Oh, yes. Let's go figure all that out. Not outside, just, it's great. But so much of this is just built on leaving them at the cross because that's all they know. That's all that leader knows. That's all that teacher knows. That's all that pastor knows. That's all that church knows. And it's like, because kingdom can be complicated, but it's really not. It's overcomplicated by different organizations, but it's not that complicated. If you just read the word, read. If Jesus did it, I can do it. Point blank. You want to make it super simple? If Jesus did it, I can do it. And we're done. I just got to figure out how to do it. Jesus did it. He spent a lot of time in prayer. His time in prayer, Jesus's alone time in prayer is what gave him the access and the authority. And his fasting time is what gave him the power and authority, right? So we can do those things and have power and authority over things. It's simple. To trample on serpents, to cast out demons, to heal, we have that ability. Easter's coming up.